Let's go. I love that. Let's go. Thanks for doing this.
Cool, no problem, man.
This is going to be super fun. There's a bunch of stuff that I want to cover with you, and there's a load of detail that I want to get into that we're not going to have time for in 40 minutes.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
So we got introduced. We've never actually met, first of all. I think this is the first time we've met, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, we've had a couple of Zoom calls together, but this is it. So you do the thing that Andy Serkis made super famous.
Yeah.
It's like the motion capture or like creating the animation that puppets digital characters.
Yeah.
Really.
So a lot of it was inspired by what he does.
Yeah.
A lot of it inspired by what he does, Andy Serkis. And then the only thing where I kind of stemmed away from, should I say, is bringing in different rig equipments to create better motion capture data.
Yeah.
So I give credit to him for making it a big thing, but originally it wasn't him that inspired me because I didn't know. It was me working on Legend of Tarzan. But then when I looked to see who was the main person doing what I wanted to do, it was Andy Serkis.
So like Legend of Tarzan that's the first experience you had of motion capture? Yeah. And you were brought on to play. You were brought on to play the background characters.
Yes, I was actually brought on to play the warriors.
The warriors.
Because, African black. This.
Oh well, yeah, that's the only thing that you can play, obviously.
So it was that, and it was background. So I thought that's what it was. My friend, I have to always mention his name, Clifton. He was like, we was in the gym, and he was like, "Hey, look, they're doing background extra, getting 250 a day." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, I'm involved." And then I went to join it, and then for some reason I ended up doing auditioning for one of the gorillas.
Right.
So in my brain, I'm like, why am I auditioning? I thought extras, you just get in and everything like that. And then from there, because where I was with myself at that time, I knew if, and the person behind it, Wayne McGregor, who's like a top world choreographer, I knew if he said he wanted me to be a gorilla, I knew that most people would, be conscious and self-conscious about being a gorilla. For me, I'm like,
you gotta go.
I'm just gonna. If you want me, it doesn't go against my morals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you want a dog? I'll be a dog. I'm gonna be the best dog I can be. So while I'm already in it, everybody's kind of like trying to get their way around, and then by the time they're in it, I'm already in it.
Yeah.
So without being egotistical, I already knew I was gonna get a role from it because a few of us got roles.
Yeah.
But I knew I was gonna be one because I was on it from the moment you asked.
Yeah.
So as long as I'm not a douchebag, there shouldn't be a reason why I wouldn't be picked with some of them.
Yeah.
And then from there, that was as a background extra gorilla, and then it got upgraded to where I played the lions for the main scene when they're rubbing heads and everything like that. And so from there, Wayne McGregor was like, "Hey, you have to go big. These are the studios to go on contact and everything like that." And I just kind of followed the trail, done a lot of stuff. Like for me, it took a lot for me to get in the door.
Yeah.
Because I made reference videos with equipment. I bought my own motion capture suit.
And that's not cheap.
No, it's not cheap.
It's an investment.
It's not cheap, So like I'd done a lot to be seen, like more than the average to get in the door. Because if there's many people doing it already and they were already, leading this mocap, it's like if you have a camera guy who's always camera girl, who's always on point. Yeah. The only reason why you're not hiring them is because they're busy.
Yeah.
Or they're not well.
Yeah.
So it's like same with mocap. Why would I not just get Bob and Karen when they're always available? So I was like, how can I come in? And it was actually the creature way with the equipment. Then here's a way to get better mocap data, and then it worked. And here I got my own suit now. Oh, I got 2 of them now. Oh, like I done a lot.
Yeah. You said something there that I want to pick up on. You said because of where you were with your life and with yourself then. Yeah. Where were you with your life and yourself at the point you got Legend of Tarzan?
Where was I? It was 2 years after I had come out of prison. It was 2 years.
Right.
So I came out of prison in 2012, and then, I had a chip on my shoulder, like I'm still gonna be an actor, even though I've got a record and everything. So 2 years after was when I done Legend of Tarzan. Yeah. So
still quite raw.
Still raw. Yeah. Raw to the outside world.
Right.
Because in my mind, when I came out, it was like, all right, I'm out. It wasn't like, I had one moment when I was in Westfield, I was like, whoa. But it was the one moment.
Right.
After that, it was just, okay, I'm out. It's like, I never wanted to give too much emphasis of, oh my God, I'm out. Oh my God. It was just like, I'm out. Okay, I'm here. Like, let's get stuff done. Let's get things moving. Let's get, so that was like, come come April the 2nd, it will be 12 years.
12 years?
Since I've been out, yeah.
Well, it's good. That's a whole long time.
Yeah.
That's longer than I've done anything in my life. That's a thing. What were you? I've got to unpack this a little bit. What were you in prison for in the first place?
So it was robbery with imitation firearms. So that was basically running in the street and sticking up people and taking all goods and stuff and then selling it. And that was because I owed somebody money because somebody else had robbed me, and it was just like a real little dirty circle. Yeah. Really, to be fair. And then I got caught, and then I got, what did I get? I got 8 years, served 4. Yeah. And I done 4.5 because of the whole immigration thing and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a journey.
That's a journey.
Yeah.
How do we'll talk about the immigration thing in a minute as well, because this is part of your life that is particularly fascinating to me. And frankly, how the fuck you've not been crushed by it, because there are some people that will go through what you've gone through and just say, nah, I quit, I give up, I'm gonna work in Tesco and I'm done. Or go back to the life they led. Yeah. How did you get up to a point where you were doing robbery with an imitation firearm?
Do you know what? To be honest, when I reflect as an adult and I look back, it was to do with, it's always got to do with self-insecurity. Yeah. Like growing up in a particular environment, not having a particular, I look at it now because I do a lot of talks. Yeah. And I look at it like, I live everything is based around love. People do hurt people because they got neglected love. They didn't receive love. They felt like that person was loved more. It seems to always have something with love. So my father wasn't there, love. My brother came, his father was there, didn't feel like I got that love. So in my eyes now, I look at it as love as the thing that's missing in people. Because when you're loved and you feel loved, you don't really want to do nobody nothing. When you actually feel love, like I know you have a child, so it's like when you feel that.
Yeah, you've got 3.
Yeah, you don't ever want to go, wow, and then I want to cause someone pain. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
you don't ever.
Oh, I don't know. My neighbours, when they make noise at midnight, I'd do that.
It's because it can make up the little one, and that gets you mad. So it's just like, so I feel like I believe and I live that everything is based around love. Yeah. The lack of love, the misfortune of not receiving love. And so because of these things growing up, and because I didn't have, so I had belief in myself, but I didn't have enough love in myself to not attract certain situations to not happen, because I felt like, because I was a dancer, breakdancing, body popping my thing, but breakdancing, body popping to certain people was like, oh, you're soft, you're not really, and I would get a lot of female attention because of the dancing and stuff. So it's like, oh, you're not really tough. So I had experiences where you could call it bullying in a way. Now you could call it.
You'd call it bullying.
Yeah, you would call it bullying. And those experiences made me realize, like, well, my mum doesn't have the money to move out and change the eras. I'm still gonna have to be here. If I don't do something about it, I'm just gonna keep getting victimized. So those things were the things that kind of shifted me. But it was a shifted performance, because deep down within inside, I didn't really want to be that person. Yeah. But it was like survival. When you feel like you have to survive to not be victimized, then it's like you'll end up willing to do. And even though I don't want to make it seem like I didn't do some things, but I still try to have morals around certain things. So not to say to make it even better, but like when I done a robbery, I had a fake gun. When I was like, okay, I'll only go for a man. I'm not going to go for a woman or a child. Like,
it's an imitation firearm. It's not real.
Imitation, BB gun, plastic. So it doesn't mean it softens the blow to the person receiving it. Yeah. But I try to have like, well, I don't have to be as with it.
You had a line, there's a code.
I had a line. Yeah. And doesn't make it right, but it was just, I called it the lack of love, whether it's self-love, love from others. That's what I see it all as. Yeah. Really.
Well, your childhood is kind of interesting. So your mum came over from Jamaica in late 70s?
1983.
1983.
No, sorry, that's the law. She came 1988. Well, 1987 when she came and pregnant with me.
1987. You were born in 88.
Yes.
Born in North London.
I was actually born in South.
You were born in South Greenwich and then grew up in North
grew
London.
Up in North London, yeah.
Cool.
I'm going to say Northwest.
Northwest.
In case people are watching this like Northwest.
General Northwest line, very specific.
Yeah, just in case. Yeah.
What was it like growing up in North London? How close to a stereotype was it?
Yeah, very much the stereotype, 100%. Still is.
Still is.
Still is. You know, I feel like most of the only areas that I feel like that have kind of not as stereotyped might be somewhere like Hackney, maybe Brixton, but really if you look behind the curtains, you'll see it's still the same.
Yeah.
You know, the front, you'll see a lot of stuff, but you go round the back, and it's still very much the same. You know, so when people say that certain areas are gentrified, that's at the front.
Yeah.
But it ain't gentrified around the back.
Yeah.
You know, so I would still say it still carries a very much of the same stereotype. And again, I think it still comes from the same thing, the lack of love, you know. Anyone that truly, you can't do what you don't have within. So if I don't have money, I can't give you money. If I don't have self-love, I can't give love. If I have self-problems, I want to shut out the problems.
Yeah.
You know, in one way or another. So for me, I just think it's just a lack of love, and then the lack of misguidedness. So you have a lack of love and then you're guided down the wrong road because you have a lack of love. So if I make you feel like it's love by giving you stuff and making you do stuff for me because I'm showing you love because you're in need of love, then it's the same dirty cycle.
Yeah.
You know, and you can only really do that to people that either don't have enough love with themselves to be like, nah, sorry, or they love so much that they think that it means to do anything because of it, you know, it's the balance. So
I have a lack of love for the guy with the bike outside right now. I was picking up.
So yeah.
You were when you were growing up, you wanted to be fairly creative. So when you were a young man, you wanted to be a dancer, and that's great. But that didn't go down well with people in the community, I suppose.
Nah. It you know what, it did and it didn't. And I used dance as a way to basically feel love.
Yeah.
Because when I would dance body pop break dance, people would, oh wow, da 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 da. So that was like my golden token. And I don't want it to say like not love, like my mom didn't love me and my family didn't. They did, but I feel like there's only certain things your parents can do for you. They're not going to school with you. You know, you can't call your mom down to come. You know, there's certain things that you experience that your parents just can't do it for you. You know what I'm saying? And
you got to do it yourself.
You got to do it yourself. And again, I think it's also that thing that my dad wasn't around. So when you don't have a dad around, and you kind of feel like you become the man because
he stayed in Jamaica, right?
He stayed in Jamaica. So you kind of feel like I love you, mommy, and I hear you, but you can't really tell me nothing because I'm at this age now, and I think I'm a man. So you know, so
that's the thing.
It's still a thing where, as a man, you feel like you got to provide security, you know, safety. Do
you not think that's true of women as well?
I feel like it's still in that kind of, I feel like this gender role still really plays out. Like, it's not that I think, men are this and women are this and it can't be that. I just feel like the generics is still in play.
There's still an imbalance.
Yeah, there's still that. And so we cater to it. And that's why men have the highest suicide rates. Yeah. You know, like...
How much do you think about the provider role stems from a lack of father figure when you were growing up?
I don't know, because I feel like, because we come from the old age, so if you go further back, you know, there was a point where a woman, you know, if you weren't married, you were looked down upon. Yeah. So I think because I don't think we're at the generation, it might be our children's or their children's generation where it's more like, or maybe a couple of generations further down where it's like, oh, it's more balanced.
Yeah, I want that one. I want my daughter's generation. She's 19 months. I want her to be a one that goes out and like, yeah, I'm Prime Minister, and I don't want it to be an issue. I don't want it to be like, oh, you're the third female Prime Minister of the country. It's like, no, you're just Prime Minister. You're not a woman CEO, you're a CEO. Yeah. That's where we need to get to.
I don't know if I'm confident that it would be your princess's generation. I don't know if I'm that confident on that, just because of certain things that's in society that still plays a part.
I think it's down to people like us to make it change, and I hope that we can. I think that, well, it's going back to a little bit about what you sort of growing up and that kind of route, the being around other young men at that time, in that place, in that way, and being sensitive, or at least being, would you call yourself sensitive? Would you call yourself emotionally
100%.
in touch?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
and creative at the same time.
Yeah.
That puts a particular burden on you and your emotions, and you shut down a bit. Yeah. So you go from this sense of, I want to be me, and I'm getting my place in the household as a man, and boundaries with your mum coming up and things. How do you go into a situation, because going from I want to do dancing to I'm going to prison for robbery with an imitation firearm is a gap. Fill in that gap for me. What happened in the little
the gap of love?
The gap of love. It's all the gap of love. I had no love.
Yeah, I can't, because I could tell the journey, but it's gonna lead to the lack of something.
Yeah.
Like, you don't go out and do certain things unless it's the lack of something.
Yeah.
Like, creativity is a whole different thing, but if you look at the people who commit crime and do the craziest stuff, it's usually because of lack of something. The lack of guidance, love. If I guide you correctly, that's love. If I misguide you, that's ignorance. So there's always a lack of something for why someone does something that is harmful.
Yeah.
Like, you check a bully. The bully's normally been bullied, or people who abuse. They normally have been abused, and it's like no one's broken that cycle, and they probably didn't know how to speak to someone, and then they just continued the cycle. So for me, it's just a love, but doesn't mean have to be love in romantic, doesn't have to be love in just family, but just for me, love is about a guidance that helps you to grow in a positive way. That's what love is to me.
Yeah.
A something that helps you to grow, however it's given to you, and expand and allow you to be you. Because if I try to hold you back from being you, then that's not love. But if I tell you, go do you, as long as you ain't hurting nobody on purpose, then that's what it is. But don't you shouldn't be dancing. You shouldn't be doing this interview, because
I definitely shouldn't be dancing.
Do you understand?
Trust me, I should not be dancing. No one wants to see that.
So if me telling you not to do something you want, that's not love.
No.
So then now you have to, and because now I'm starting to physically do something, and then it's like, well, if you don't have the money to leave it, if you go and tell the police, then now you're going to be looked at as even more of a victim.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's just always going to come back to love.
So you get into this state where you're experiencing a lack of love and a lack of support, and you fall in with people who fill in that gap in a way, and even if it's on the surface.
I didn't even fall in with them. I more reacted and responded with the same energy, because I didn't join no one's gang. I started my own gang. So it's like, and I don't want to make it sound like I was some big time criminal or some big time known thing, but I didn't really be like, hey, let me join your stuff. It was still my own thing, but I responded with the same energy in negativity, but just in my own way. Do you know what I'm saying? And for me, Creature Bionics and everything is the same thing. I'm just doing my own thing, but in a positive way.
Yeah.
Like I even when I was young, I had a gang called 187, and I wanted to do numbers instead of, because everybody else was using letters. So like I've always used marketing and branding in a way that I didn't even realize until I look back and I'm like, oh, stuff. Oh yeah. I've been doing that.
I was my own CMO.
Yeah. Like, well, I may as well just do it with this now.
Yeah.
And for me, it's the same. But again, I feel like everything comes back to the form of love, and the lack of something leads to this experience, and it leads to this experience. Because I actually tried to stop. I actually did stop, but like, I'm done with all of this. But then when I wanted to make a little bit of money, that's when the situation happened where I got robbed, and it's like, well, I got to get back onto it now. Yeah. But I actually stopped. I started crime at 15. I actually stopped at 18. Like, you know what, I'm done. I don't want this. Like,
what age were you when you went to prison?
I was 19.
You were 19, so a year after.
So it's like, but again, it's the lack of knowledge. I didn't finish school. I didn't do that. So it's like, how else was I meant to, So that's really the basis on it.
So what gets me about you a lot is the the positivity and the giving of this, because this isn't where your story of trials ends, is it? And trials and troubles. Because when you were in prison, and this is the thing that really gets me. You were born in North London, but when you were in prison, South London. Sorry, you grew up in North London. You were born in South London. Born in London.
Yeah,
born in London.
Raised in London.
Raised in London.
Yeah.
And while you were in prison, the government tried to deport you.
Yeah. So I got a knock on the door, and I remember I think it was August 2010, because I was meant to come out 2011. I think it was August or September. And I got a knock on the door and a letter put through my door, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, what's this? And I read it, and I'm not gonna lie, I cried, because I was like, it wasn't more of a cry, it was more of a cry of a shock. Like, never in a billion years did I ever think that I'd be facing deportation.
Yeah.
Ever. Like, I thought I just had a Jamaican passport when I was young, because it was a cool thing, like, ooh, I'm born here, but I got a Jamaican passport. I actually thought it was, sometimes I used to joke, be like, well, I'm born in Jamaica, look, I got a thingy.
Yeah.
But I didn't think that was a thing. And so, cutting a long story short, it was because basically my mum got indefinite leave from me when she got married. And because she didn't do the citizenship for me before 18, and I had got convicted after 18, I was seen as an adult, but an adult as a national of Jamaica.
Yeah.
And so, because I was born after 1983, if you don't have Jamaica, or you don't have a parent from England, British, and it's after 1983, then you are classed as a national of Jamaica. But the problem is that Jamaica don't recognize me as a Jamaican, because I don't have citizenship there. So regardless of it all, I could have never got deported, because Jamaica don't have me on their system.
Yeah.
So for me, it was kind of like, I went through all of that, but I even have emails from the Jamaican embassy saying, you're not Jamaican. So, but I still went through it, still going through it, but it's just like one of those ones where I kind of look at it like, well, Ace, if you didn't do certain things, you wouldn't be in a position. And I'm not saying that it hasn't been harsh, they haven't, I've worked with the Old Bailey Court. I've got statements from police, from Met Police, but it wasn't enough. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if I didn't hit you in your face, you may have not caused the world of mayhem on me. Yeah. But I have to fight it. Because at the end of the day, cutting it short, and without being rude or anything, like, there's someone in the world right now, there's someone in Palestine that would love to have my life. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? There's someone in the world that would love to have my life. Like, love. So I can moan and complain. And sometimes when I think about, if I was in America, Creature by this world, I've had job opportunities that I've had to turn down. But I'm grateful to have a life, family, everything. So I don't really nag on it.
Yeah, that's fair. And it's interesting as well, because you say you're still going through it, and that's because they revoked your indefinite leave to remain, so you've got limited leave to remain, and you have to renew that.
I got to renew it every 2.5 years, and if I don't renew it, they can't deport me, but I can't work. Yeah. So it's just like awkward. It's an ongoing thing, and it's like the only thing that's really going to solve it, I don't want to say the only thing, is whether, I come into the monies one day, which I will, but those high-end lawyers, you're talking about like maybe 10,000 an hour lawyers who find a little, here we go.
There's a loophole.
Yep, there's a loophole. There it is. Like those high-end lawyers, or someone from government thinks this is really fucked up.
You need citizenship papers.
You need that. You shouldn't be doing this. Or because the business and the work I do gets out there, and then I make noise again, and it's like, well, Idris Elba wouldn't be in this situation. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I know it's going to happen. I'm actually not worried. Like, I don't actually worry.
No, you don't seem it.
Yeah, but it's like, that they're the things that will most likely change it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they revoked my indefinite leave 4 years after I've come out of prison.
Yeah, that's gutting.
4 years after I came out of prison, 4 years after not committing no crime, 4 years after working with youth, schools, police, or councils, movies, still made no difference. So again, if I didn't do the crime, it wouldn't have been a situation, but it is what it is.
That is, it's like owning your own actions and the consequences of your past, and but then still finding your way through, because like, so you're technically stateless, technically, but have a thriving business in the UK, pay UK taxes, live a UK life, have a wife, have 3 kids. You've got everything that I think a lot of people aspire to and want, but have had to deal with a lot to get there. One of the things that I admire a lot about you is the fact that you haven't just done that. You haven't just gone, all right, well, screw this, I'm out of prison, I'm building a business, I'm making my life. You've also done giving back. You've gone and spoken to schools and you're working with people and educating people and teaching people. You're trying to actively prevent what's happened to you happening to somebody else. Yeah. I think that is remarkable. How do you go through what you've gone through and not come out the other end jaded?
Because I look at life as there's 2 sides to one story, and 2 people can have cancer. One person thinks their life is over, which they have the right to, because from what they've been told about cancer. Then another person says, fuck it, I'm gonna live my life. I'm gonna fucking start living my life, because if I've only got 6 months left, I may as well live it doing whatever I want. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like, when I look at people that inspire us, they all had some kind of crazy story or some kind of, we're not inspired by the person that was given everything. No. Here you go. We're mostly inspired by somebody that's going through some stuff. Yeah. Especially when you're an adult. When you're a kid, you're happy about your cartoon characters. But as an adult, when you're like, that person's a role model. Yeah. That role model usually has gone through some trauma, some stuff, and you really gave credit to, like, rah. And so for me, at the end of the day, there's been people who have gone through quadruple worse, in my opinion, and come out on the other side. So if I can't come out on the other side, then I have to look at myself and be like, the only reason why I didn't come out on the other side was because of lack of self. Because if you can do it as a human and I can do it as a human, you might have more opportunities, you might be more experienced, but I believe I can as well, because you're a human. You've showed me, we breathe the same air, we bleed the same blood. So if you can do it, I can do it. Yeah. Again, difference in opportunities, difference in experiences, but potential, you can't weigh the difference in potential. Yeah. So for me, it's like the real alchemy is changing something from negative to positive. Yeah. And if you actually think about it, stories is what we grow by. So if I go to a school, especially when I go to the Old Bailey Court, we do that every 3 months, go to the Old Bailey Court, do a talk. When I go to them and I tell them, because I never tell them certain things until the middle part, but when I tell them, yeah, I've worked on this Marvel film and this video game and this and that, and I tell them the backstory, for them it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. There is someone that, there is another light at the tunnel. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just one person. So for me, it's like, there's no price in, and I don't charge for my talks, because there's no need for me to I need to do something that's free, like nothing to do with money. I have to, like Creech Bionics, that's money. But talking, I want it to be, you can't, how am I going to charge you? Do I charge you as Ace with the experience, or Ace that's worked on the films and everything like that? So it's like, you know what? I don't want to block someone receiving the information, because it might do something, so I don't charge. And so, doing the talks, it's fulfilling because you're giving. And I look at life as, there is no life without giving. If you didn't give clothes and milk to your little one, you wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here. So everything is based on giving. Like love. Love. There's no war on giving. Like, there is no war between countries because, hey, I really want to give you this. Yeah. There's no war.
I will fight you to give you this thing.
There's no war in it. It's like, I'll give you this, you owe me. Oh, you've got that, I want it. It's all about
take.
So for me, I feel like I'm playing my part in life and in the universe by doing something where I'm giving that isn't a means for an expectation in the end of it. So,
it's selfless from you, and it can be really positive for somebody else.
And I think that's what life is, like love, because, what do I give back to the sun for the sunlight? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? What do I give back to the trees? What do I give back? They were here before me, so if all human died, the trees and stuff will still be here. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So let me play my part in giving in some form of way, and that's the best way that suits what I do. And other people have their ways, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. My way is just using my experience and like, hey, look, I talk to someone that can relate with the story, and
Yeah.
that's it.
There's something quite spiritual about that. You've got, I saw this in the waiting room earlier, you've got the Eye of Horus on your cat, and you've got symbols everywhere. Symbolism and spirituality is part of who you are.
Yeah, very deep. And again, I think spirituality, I don't want to say I think, spirituality to me is love.
Yeah.
That's what I don't look at it as, before I did used to look at it as, you know, you believe in the consciousness and the wokeness. For me, when I look at it, it's just love. Like, it's just living in the state of love. And to me, love is giving and receiving. And when I look at the body, if you have to constantly give and receive. You have to breathe air, breathe out, and breathe in. So you're constantly in a state of giving and receiving. Try to hold your breath for long enough. Your body will force you to breathe out and receive. But if you're underwater, you'll pass away. So for me, when I look at life and I look at the body and I look at a lot of my perceptions of life is just from the human body. Just the human body. Like, me and you look different. Everybody in this room look different.
Do we?
We do. I believe we do.
My word.
But it's like, it's no different from, you know, the heart, the kidney, the liver. They don't all be like, hey, well, I beat, so I'm more important than you.
Yeah.
And hey, if one's off, the whole system can shut down.
Yeah.
But they all have to work continuously together to keep one body in a state.
Yeah.
And so when I look at that, and I look at that as like the way of life, all of these cells in my body, I've got an immune system. Like, I cut my skin, there's things, they're ready to repair it. I'm like, wow, like, this is a blissful life. I do that, and something will repair it. You lose your arm.
I mean, if you do that, it's probably not a blissful life.
You know what I mean? So it's like, when I look at all of these things, and I'm like, yeah, for me, spiritualism is really about the practice of love on just a different level. Like, that's for me anyway.
Yeah.
And again, some people might mistake that with romantic love. I'm just talking about, you don't need romance to give to someone.
Yeah.
You give, when you help the person across the street or someone, the pram down the stairs on the train station, you don't need it returning that.
Yeah.
You know, so for me, the spiritualism, there's some styles of, like, you know, knowledge, but when we look at everything, there's things that I'm reading and seeing, we're doing it, you know, like we've got TV, we've got phones, we can see someone else on the other side of the world. They had to understand nature in order to do that. Like, everything when I sit down and think, right, everything that we have on earth is literally made from, like, stones, muds, all natural things, and now we're using it, flying into the sky. Like, we use earth. So for me, spiritualism is just like an appreciation for all of these things that we have. Yeah. That's really it. Without saying, well, if you don't believe this way, then you're this, and if you don't believe this way, then you're this. That's it for me, really.
Yeah. That's brilliant. I think that's a good note to end on. I've got one questionnaire, which I have shamelessly nicked from James Lipton from the Inside the Actors Studio. And we'll finish on that, because I think this is great, and I'm aware that you've got to scooch off in a minute.
That's cool.
What's your favourite word? Interesting word.
It probably has to be, I have my favourite sentence, but if you're going to say word, it has to be love.
Love. What's your favourite sentence?
Beyond the stereotype.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I like that.
That's my little statement.
Like,
before, beyond the stereotype, you know, like, going beyond what people might look at you and think, whatever you look like, wherever you're from, like, if you go beyond the stereotype, you will always be remembered in their mind. And that's what I've used most of my marketing with. Like, do something that people don't expect you to do when they look at you, and then they will remember, you know? So beyond the stereotype is my favorite sentence.
Love.
And I'll say, love. Now, I would say love. Before, I'm not sure what it would be. I'm not sure what it would be.
Love is good.
But love.
What's your least favourite word?
I'd say least favourite word is probably, with the actions behind it, is probably bully.
Yeah.
And my least favourite sentence is, I can't.
Yeah.
You know, my children, they're not allowed to say that in the house, because that's the thing that limits so much people in this world, that you can see someone can, but because they can't see it for themselves, they don't go for it.
Yeah.
So I can't will probably be the most least favourite words.
What's a sound or noise that you love?
It'll probably be laughter.
Yeah. It's a running theme.
Yeah, laughter, laughter. Because when I think about when I go home and my youngest opens the door and the way he's excited, even though he's not laughing, it's like the energy of laugh.
Yeah.
So that's probably my favorite sound, those high-pitched sounds.
Yeah.
It's hard to be high-pitched and angry at the same time.
Yeah.
It's very hard. So I'd say laughter. Laughing is my favorite sound.
What's the sound or noise that you hate?
The noise, whatever noise that stops you from moving.
Yeah.
Whatever noise that is.
Yeah.
And the noise can come in different ways. Yeah. Maybe it's your self-voice or, the annoyance, not hearing that train coming.
Yeah, that would be nice.
So yeah, I'd say the noise of limitation.
Noise of limitation.
Yeah.
What inspires you?
Life.
Yeah, just being.
Yeah, just being. Just realizing how blissful life can be.
So life. What makes you cross?
Cross? I would say not honoring my own word.
Yeah.
So it
you
could
just get cross with yourself.
Yeah, it could be as simple as, I plan to go to the gym. I said it, I wrote it down, I stand it, and I didn't honor my own words. So yeah, not honoring words is a really big thing for me.
Yeah.
And whether it's to myself or someone not honoring the word that they say, I believe everybody wants the truth. Even
100%.
the liar wants the truth. Yeah. And so for me, not receiving the truth and not living up to my truth, I would say is the most.
Nice.
Yeah, thing that is.
If a new banknote was going to be issued, who do you think should be on it?
Woo! I think just a number of different people.
Mm-hmm. A group of people on the same one?
Yeah, a group of people, yeah. If I really had to choose, if it was like, okay, Ace, you really had to choose, I'd probably choose a kid.
Yeah?
Yeah, because
inspiring kid.
Everybody's like, I don't even know what kid it would be. I just choose a random kid because everyone loves babies. Well, most people, I would say most people, and a child is a child.
Every time you look at a note, you go, oh.
Like.
I like that.
Yeah, some people don't like kids. Yeah, I find it crazy. But
fair enough.
But yeah.
All right, a kid. Other than your own, what profession would you most like to attempt?
Other than my own, if I was to do anything else, which I will move on to doing, but if I was to do it now, it would be talent development and branding.
Nice.
I love branding and marketing. Yeah. I feel like
I get that with you.
That's the only 9 to 5 I could actually do.
Yeah.
If I think about a 9 to 5, it would be marketing and branding. But I want to be really in it, like the product. Okay, how are we putting it out? How are we going to put it out there? What are we going to do? What content are we going to? Or content creator. Yeah. I love creating content. So I would be content creator. I'll probably even go deeper in animation because I'm nowhere level in animation. Yeah. Probably go deeper in it, but branding and marketing, I love branding and marketing. So that would be
the thing.
That would definitely be the thing.
What would you least like to attempt?
Woo! Damn, that's a bit hard because that means anybody in that job might be like, oh, you're looking down. What would I not? I don't know if there's an actual job in itself because I can name a few, but I feel like it's just a job that just doesn't allow any form of creativity. Yeah. Like those non-creative jobs. Yeah. Those non-creative jobs. Any non-creative job you can think of, I would despise. I'd rather be broke doing what I'm doing and just get by than be rich and in a job where there's no creativity.
It's depressing.
Yeah.
If the afterlife exists, what would you like the gatekeepers to say when you arrive?
I would like them to say you are accepted because I lived my truth.
Nice.
I believe that there's a lot of stuff I do believe on the spiritual side with that, but that's another whole conversation.
Yeah, come back and do that.
We'll come back another day. But I just believe, just living your truth. Like, I truly believe I live as, and this is what I'm practicing every day. Life is about giving and receiving, and what you receive, you must forgive in order to give again. Your mind is so powerful, and I end on this. The spider, I love it as an example. Many people are scared of spiders. Yep. And it could be a spider that is not venomous. You could just go like this with your thumb and just kill it, which I don't recommend anyone do. But the spider, you know, you can do that and it's dead. But that little thing can have you go, oh. That shows you the power of fear. That you know it's not dangerous. You know it can't kill you, it can't harm you, but you're still scared of it. That shows me fear. So when I think about that for an experience, is it gonna kill me? Is it gonna do that? Just go and do it. And it's like an antidote. Because on the other side, you're like,